Hi everyone, welcome back to a free Python certification program. In this video, we are going to talk about loops. Now, before we get into loops, let's have a quick recap on all the topics which we have covered so far. So we started with introduction to programming languages, where we have seen different types of programming: assembly level, machine level. So we started with machine level, assembly level, and then high level. And then we have seen what are the different languages present, right? All those things. After that, we have covered variables. Yep, you can see here we have gone through variables. Yes, one second. Yeah. So we have gone through variables, data types, operators we have covered. And then in our previous videos, we have covered keywords, comments, conditional statements, right? If if else, we have covered those things. And indentation, what we have seen, what is indentation and why it is important, right? It specifies the starting and ending of the code, right? A block of code within which the statement is present, which has to be executed. Okay. Now, today we are going to talk about loops. Remember, in loops also you will be having indentation concept. We'll have a look on that. Okay. So let me clear this and let's get started with loops. Okay. So let's see. In Python, the usual program flow is sequential. Now, what do I mean by sequential is it is going to start from the first line and it is going to execute second, third, fourth, fifth until it executes all the lines. It is going in the sequence order. Okay. So here you can see the uh, execution process is sequential. Now, to alter this, sometime maybe we want to repeat some process. Okay, so let's consider one, two, three, four. Now, here there's some process which you want to repeat multiple times. Okay, now what you are going to do? Okay. So this is where loops are very important. It is used to alter the flow of the program, right? So instead of just going sequential, it can go sequential, it can do some repetitions here, and then again it can continue with its execution flow. Okay. And there will be some cases where I want to repeat same code multiple times. This is where loop is very helpful. Okay. Now, what are the different types of loops we have? We have two types of primitive loops. One is for loop and another one is while loop. Okay. So we have for loop and while loop. Okay. So first, let's have a look. Why do we use loop? We'll understand this with a very simple example. Okay. So now let's consider you want to calculate the speed of a 50 different cars. Okay. So are you going to calculate the speed of the 50 different cars with the same formula? Just you're going to use it 50 times. Like I mean, S1 is equals to, you're going to write D1 by dt. Then again, you're going to define the formula for S2 is equals to D1 by T2. Right. Are we going to do this? No, right? So what we can do is we can just use the formula once. Okay. Now, when it comes for the first car, we can take the distance and time of the first car, and that is given as the input to this equation. It will give you the output. Okay. Then it has calculated. Again, it will go back to this. It will take the speed and distance and time taken by the second car. Then again, go back. Third car. Like this, we are going to repeat 50 times. Okay. So this is where loops are very important. Okay. So let's try to understand one by one. So advantages are it provides code reusability. See, only I'm writing one time the equation, but I can use it multiple times, right? Then loops do not make, okay, same sentence, we don't want to repeat it again and again. Loops can traverse over elements. Okay, what do I mean by this? We'll understand this in the for loop in detail. Okay, so now let's see while loop first. First, we'll go through the theory as usual, and then we'll take one example in scripting and try to understand that. Okay. So while loop. Now see, while loop is used or it is executing as long as the condition is true. That is the main thing here. Okay. So let's consider this example. We'll use the same example for the scripting as well. I is equals to 1. That means what is the value of I now? It is 1. Okay. Now I'm going to give this while condition. Okay. And here I'm just going to increment I. I is equals to I plus 1. That means after executing this, it is going to increment. Now, what will happen is I'm giving here condition I less than or equal to 0. So this whatever the block of code here it will be there, it will execute as long as the condition is true. So now I is 1. So that it will execute to execute until 6 is achieved. After 6 for 7, it is going to stop. So remember this point you need to remember. For while loop, it is going to execute as long as the condition is going to be true. That is how while loop has been designed. Okay, it is going to execute as long as our condition is true. Okay. Then next, what is with respect to the for loop? See, for loop is something where it is used to iterate over sequence or elements. Right. So we have seen sequence of data, right? So for example, we have, let's consider list. Okay, we'll take the same example here. 10, 20, 30, and then we have some strings, apple, then we have orange, okay, or we can take bat and cat. Like this, we have multiple strings, right? Now, what I can do is I can make use of this for loop to iterate over sequence. First, it will go to this element, and then it will do whatever the operation is mentioned here. Then it will go to this element, third, fourth. Like this, it is going to execute as long as the elements are present in the given sequence. Okay. So let's understand this by taking one simple example. Okay. So let me just share my Jupyter notebook. Okay. So here we can see for the first, we'll go with the for loop. Okay. So let's take list equals to maybe, how do we declare a list? With the help of square brackets. Okay. So I'm going to take 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. And then I'm going to take some strings as well here. Uh, hello. Okay. No, let's take apple and then, sorry, no, 0. And then let's take maybe bat. Let's take maybe cat. Okay. So these are the list of, these are the collection of elements which I'm taking it in the form of list. Okay. Now I want to print one element. So what I can do is I'm going to make use of for loop for I in LST. Okay. Now here what is happening? See, very careful. Understand this simple point. When I say for I in LST. So what this I will hold is initially it will hold this value. Okay. And then it is going to do all the things present here. And then it is going to hold this value. Then this, like this, it is going to continue until it completes all the elements. Okay. So let's clear this out. Let's see. How many elements we have? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 or 7 elements. Okay. So I'll say print I. See, what it will do is it will print all the elements there. Okay. So let me clear these lines. All right. Now see, once I execute this, first it will print 10, 20, 30, like this. 10, 20, 30, 40, apple, bat, cat. Every element has been printed. Okay. Now what I will do is I will just add one more element, uh, print, and in here I'm going to say maybe I. Okay. Now tell me whether this high will come after all these elements or will it come in middle? Yes. So let's execute and check this. Where will it come? My question is, will this high which I'm putting here, will it come after executing all these elements? Like after this, will it come or will it come in here? Okay. Give the answer in the comments. Okay. So where will it come? So let's say this. I'll say enter. Okay. What is happening? So first, it is taking the first element. Now, what do I have in I? In the first go, I have 10. And then so it is printing this and it is printing this. Then it is going back to the second element. Now, what is present in I? 20. So it is printing 20 and then I. Okay. So like this, it is going to execute. All right. What if I say print, or I'll just let's go with by. Okay. So let's go with by. Now, where will this by come? Will it come in the middle here with every element? I 10 by 20 high like by like this we will get, or we will get at the end. Come on, tell me fast. Yes, we will get that at the end. Why? Because see here, we need to understand this. This is a separate block of code. See, indentation path. Here you can clearly see there's no indentation here. Okay. So this will execute how many times? 7 times, because there are 7 elements present here. And then it is going to exit out of the loop. And then it is going to send print the by statement. Okay. So this is with respect to our for loop. I hope you have understood. So what it will do. So let's take this is my program. Okay. Now in this, I'm taking maybe a for loop here. So it will follow the sequence. It will execute this for loop, how many number of times it is required. And then it is going to continue. Okay. This is our for loop. Now let's talk about while loop. Okay. So for while loop, what we will do is we will take the same example, I is equals to 1. Okay. Now, while I less than or equals to maybe 10, again, end it with colon. Automatically, we are getting in the next line with indentation. Okay. So I will say print. Okay. I want to print I. And see, again, it's really important. This will keep on executing as long as the condition is true. If I execute now, the program will get in the continuous infinite loop. Because if you see here, I is always less than 10. So it will be keep on printing I. So this is really important here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increment my I. I is equals to I plus 1. Okay, which can also be written as I plus equals to 1. Okay, so now here what I'm doing is I'm incrementing I. So every time a while loop is incremented, I keeps on incrementing. And once the I has been achieved, I mean that 10 has been achieved, it is going to exit out of the loop. Okay, so after this, I will say print. Okay, and here let's say hi and control enter. So 1 high, 2 high, like this, it is going to enter how many? 10. After this, it is exiting out of the loop. Okay, so remember this point, very important. If you do not give this incrementation, it will stuck in the infinite loop because this condition is never satisfied. Right? And it execute as long as the condition is true. Once the condition is false, then it is going to exit out of the loop. Okay, so these are the two important loops in Python. Make sure you're going to practice with some more examples. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you. See you in the next video. Take care.